Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the American Masterminds Podcast.
Each episode, we invite extraordinary guests who are masters of their craft. They're innovators, entrepreneurs, and of course, motorcycle enthusiasts who have made their mark in the world.
They share their stories, insights, and hard-earned wisdom, giving you a front row seat to the strategies and experiences that shape their successes.
So sit back, grab a drink, and get ready for an exhilarating ride as we dive deep into the minds of these exceptional individuals.
Along the way, we'll uncover powerful strategies, gain fresh perspectives, and explore the limitless possibilities of what it takes to be an American mastermind. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the American Masterminds Podcast. I am your host, Topher Sheeler. We have Alec Langdon up on the soundboard here today. Love to see his hand. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest with us here this evening. I'm very excited about this. I can't wait to see where we go. We have Matthew Caldwell of SOCOM Restoration. Matthew, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, you were just telling me before we got on here, SOCOM actually stands for something. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
You want the full story, how the name came about?
Absolutely.
So we started this company, it had to have been July 2019. I had an expert that was mentoring me. We talked a little bit about that. He is an expert. I know construction. He's an expert. And we wanted to kind of piggyback off one of the competitor. And so the actual name was ServCom to begin with. And you've heard of ServPro.
Yeah.
We ran with ServPro or ServCom for quite a while. I had my trucks wrapped, had my trailer wrapped. And a couple months into it, the attorney came, our trademarking attorney, and said, that's just too close.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. So he called me, my partner called me, and he said, look, we can't use that. We got to think of something else. And by then I was eyeballs deep into it. I didn't have time. I didn't even want to offer any mind capital to another name. So I said, look, you deal with this. Just find another word that starts with S and then restoration, because our logo is SR.
Okay.
And so he came up with Sun Restoration, Spartan, all these different S words. And I like Spartan. That was okay. And he called me at the end of the day and he says, look, we got to figure something out quick. And I said, well, let me sleep on it. So I woke up the next morning. I had a three-way call with him and another fellow. And I said, look, let's just call it SOCOM Restoration. And my partner says, no, I want to keep the word serving out, how do you say it? Want to keep the word service in there. So why don't we go SOCOM? And I'm thinking, SOCOM? Where is the O? Where's the O? And but like I said, I didn't have the mind capital. I said, okay, fine, whatever. You put an O in there if you can think of an O in service. I don't know where that is, but no problem. So we went with SOCOM. This third party was post-military, and he says, that's actually a pretty cool name. It represents a branch in the military called Special Operations Command.
Yeah.
And I had visions of camouflage trucks and stuff like that, and I thought, yeah, that is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But my partner kept saying, no, I want to keep with service because this is the environment right now. So, okay, I bought it. And it was a couple of years into our company when he printed out these brochures, and he had serving, and it had a big white S, and the rest of the word was black. Our, O, and so he had the big white O, and everything was black, and then community, SOCOM.
Oh, man.
So the O is serving our community. That's what it represents.
Happy accidents. I like it.
Yeah, it's worked out really well.
Yeah.
The name of the company is got a pretty good footprint. We'll go into different offices now, and there's a lot of competitors. It's a very competitive market. And it's fun to walk into an office and you hear everybody say, SOCOM this, SOCOM that, SOCOM that. And every so often you'll hear the word restoration in there too. But SOCOM. We just go, we are SOCOM.
I like it.
Thanks.
I like it. How long have you been in business?
We started, like I said, it was July of 2019 is actually the inception. And this is, I kind of humbly brag about this. So this guy that helped me start, he's the expert, and he says, look, you can start right now and start marketing, because it's going to take you about 4 months. We can buy equipment over this 4-month period. It's going to take you about 4 months to get your first project. So go ahead and start marketing. So I thought, all right, I'm all in. I'm marketing. So I started marketing. Within the first week, we got our first job, and we didn't have any equipment.
Oh, no.
No, yeah. So he lives in Vernal, about 3 hours from here, and I was still, I was contracting myself to a close friend that does entrepreneurial training, and so I stepped out of the office that I was working at, and I called my partner and said, hey, we got a problem on our hands. What's that? I said, well, we've got a flood. Someone's got a flood. They want us to go clean it up. And so he said, I'll be right there. Vernal. Drove 3 hours between Vernal and Salt Lake, found some equipment, and we took care of our first flood that very day.
No kidding.
Yeah. And so after that, I said, look, you know what? I'm not going to market until I've got equipment. So I just started dumping money into equipment. And it was by September that I felt adequate, that I could handle something. So I started marketing again. Within a week, I had another flood.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. So
Yeah.
how did you find the restoration business to begin with?
So I have always been an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to this, like I said, I was coaching for a friend of mine. It was a contract. And then prior to that, it was real estate appraising, and I closed my appraisal office. And I was working for a friend of mine who's a New York Times bestseller as a contract coach. And I'd worked for that office for about 4 years, and I started recognizing that I got in the comfort zone.
Mm.
The income was decent, and I recognized I wasn't being challenged anymore. And I need to have that frontier to conquer.
Yes.
So I was at a family reunion, and my partner was talking to my youngest brother, and he's an expert in this. And he says, "Yeah, I'd like an opportunity to get somebody here out in Salt Lake to help me start up a company here." And I just kind of sat and listened. And after that conversation was over, I just felt, I can do this. So I walked up to him and said, I'm your man. Let's do this. And I'm the type of guy that sells the ship to the island and destroys the ship. And that was it.
And then you're here.
We're here.
I like it. Okay, so where are you at now?
Uh,
So you went from having no equipment, trying to sell jobs, and where are we at today?
Boy, today, so I was at the time, just sold my home. I was renting a townhouse with one-car garage. We started this out of the one-car garage. I'd purchased a little trailer. I had 10 air movers, one dehumidifier, and an air scrubber. That's just common equipment you're going to have in this business. And we moved that, maybe 2 years ago, we moved to an office in Draper. Now we're located at 4035 South, 300 West, just across the street from American Stone.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a shop there, offices. The shop's big enough to park all of our trucks in there.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Time out. You're in the building right across the street from American Stone?
Yeah.
Is there a little car dealership that used to be?
Yeah.
That's where our dealership used to. You might be in the same building. We used to have RSS Imports in the back of that building.
Is that right? So the very front, the office that we occupied, I guess it was a detailing shop for a while. And so the guy that lived there, he was living in that shop.
Yeah, upstairs.
So, upstairs. He had a stage. He had a cage built around the staircase because it's kind of sketchy at night, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's my office.
No kidding. Oh, my goodness. Small world. Yeah, we had just the little tiny one in the back, and we were importing cars from Japan. And so we had a bunch of Skylines and Supras and whatnot that we had back there. It's the cheapest rent we could find to
It's
have a
cheap.
to have a dealership, because there's a lot of
You
regulation.
know what? That is a great deal.
Yeah.
I've looked around for shop space, and we're starting to grow out of this one, which has kind of got me cringing. But yeah, it's a great deal.
Yeah. Is Larry still the?
Yeah, Larry.
My God.
You know what? Yeah, we're laughing right now. That is, I'm telling you. So he's got a property manager. You can call it. It's supposed. I don't know what to call it. It's not a property
Not
manager.
even close.
I'm sorry.
No. And the checks.
It took me a year to get my business license
Really?
because of a broken window.
Oh my God. Are you?
Well, there was a
serious?
broken window, and then one of the neighbors had this old jalopy that was sitting out there that the city wanted them to move, and it
Yep.
took them forever to move that. There's just a few things. It's been.
That is wild.
Can I cuss on this?
Yes,
Just-
please, yeah.
It's been a shit show. I'll just say it. But we've got our business license now, and our windows fixed.
Oh my God. Hopefully Larry doesn't hear this. What you talk about a character. I used to oh my God, he's here, because that's going to be an hour out of my day that I'm never going to get back.
You want to hear something? This is interesting.
Okay.
So my number one client employs his daughter, and it took a little while for us to put all that together. And she called me and says, "Hey, can you go take a look at my dad's roof? It's leaking." So, yeah, sure. So I go out and go out of this house. Sure as shooting, there's Larry right there.
Oh,
and I'm
my
going,
God.
"No way. Where's your daughter's Ashley?" Yeah, that's my daughter.
Ashley, that's right. She
Yeah.
used to collect the checks.
Oh, she's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what? That is a great kid.
Yeah.
She's got a heart of gold.
I don't know how he would do it without her.
No.
Or
But
at
see,
all.
the thing is, I don't think she works for him anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she works
He had some turmoil. Does he still make you take the check across to the building behind and you have to put it in the drop box? Yeah, the taco place.
Yeah.
And you drop it in there. There's no basket or anything to catch the checks.
No, I have to slip it through the door.
You have to slip it
and
through
I,
the door.
And I try knocking on the door. I've
Not
seen
once.
lights on in there. I've seen lights on. I think they see me coming and they lock the door.
I don't know what they do in there, but he lost, because it was my job to drop the check off.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was militant. We might have missed other stuff, but the check for rent was always there. But he would lose. At one time, we found it under a lawnmower in there. Okay, and it was no joke. I'm not playing around. There's no basket or anything behind that little drop box. And at least 3 different times, I had to go in there, open it up, because I swear to you, I put the check in here. And we'd find it, and I found one under a lawnmower one time. It's
Inside of that office?
Inside of that
They have
office.
a lawnmower in there?
They did at that time.
So I got to ask you, did you know Mike?
I love Mike.
Mike is the
love
best. He hates my motorcycle.
What?
Well, I've got 2 of them.
Okay.
And one of them is an old Victory. It's an 03 Victory. And he bags on that bike like nothing else. And I'm thinking, man,
He's a diehard Harley guy.
He's a
But he
but
lost
see,
his
that's
leg
my-
to the Harley.
Yeah, that's true.
He is the biggest character.
Oh, I love that guy.
I love him so much. And he would just sit out there and he would cuss us out.
Mm-hmm.
We were the young kids in the back that he could bully every single day. My brother used to be able to do impressions of him, and it was hilarious.
My employee. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Mike.
Yeah, go clean the bathroom. All right, Mike.
Oh, he complains about that bathroom.
Still?
Yeah. It is hilarious.
Yes.
You see him come hauling down there with a bunch of rags. I'm going to go clean the bathroom. Nobody else will clean the bathroom.
Oh my God. Always a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, chewed all the way down.
Yep.
Oh my God.
He's a character.
I love him.
He's a man.
Yes,
He's a man.
100%. Because I saw him. Does he still have the big green truck?
He painted it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Air Force.
The Air Force truck.
Force wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mike, one-legged Mike, I
One-legged
saw
Mike.
him replace that motor by himself. The guy is actually wildly talented.
He is incredible.
My brother basically learned everything he knows from Mike.
Is that right?
Yeah. And Mike will go down and check on him from time to time. And he's one of those same things. Like if Mike comes around, you've got a half an hour here and just let it go.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, yeah.
You're going to be chatting for at least a half hour. So he'll come down and, we have vendors that come in and they leave chocolate. You want a chocolate, Mike? no, I don't want to talk. I just want to talk to you about. And the next thing you know, he is putting down the chai. He's got half that bag eaten.
I got to tell you one story about him. So we're sitting in there. We had just he's my older, younger brother from another mother, okay? He grew up with us and whatnot. He's the one that knows. You want to talk about a guy that can't walk and chew gum at the same time? He can't find his shoelaces, let alone clothes to wear in the morning. You ask him about thermodynamics of a turbo and an engine, and he's a wizard, okay?
I know the type.
It's weird. But so he started it. Then he brought me in, like he was in a little bit of trouble with paperwork and whatnot. He brought me in and said, I need some help. So I started cleaning all this up. I'm like, Rob, we can do some stuff with this. Let's build this out. We'll do all this. So I dolled up the shop and everything. We had a cute little dealership in the back corner, if you knew where we were at. And when I got it all done, my mom had come down. And I had told all the guys that were around, and I went over and I said, Mike, listen. Because Mike would come in and, he cusses like a sailor and just great. All of it. Yeah. And I said, Mike, listen, my mom's coming down this afternoon. Can you please just for one day, will you just keep it clean and let me show it off, and then she'll never come back, I promise. Sure as shit. My mom comes in, she walks in, here comes Mike. And of course, we've talked about him so much, she had to meet him, right? So Mike comes over, and I don't remember the joke. He drops the most raunchy sex joke that you've ever heard. And I'm just like, Mike, what the hell, man? He chuckles, he goes walking off. He comes back, he goes, I'm sorry, I was out of line. The only time I've ever had Mike apologize about anything was to my mother. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I got to back up here because I had to introduce my mom to him, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I said, Mom, you got to check this guy out. This is legitimate. This is an American. The guy is solid. But I wanted my mom to meet him. I took her down there.
Oh my God.
But I didn't police him. Go ahead, Mike. You have at it. My mom can handle it. He did.
Oh man, it was so funny. I wish I could remember what the joke was, but all of us were just like, "What, Mike? We just talked about this."
That is hilarious. You were right there.
Yeah, right there. Yep, we were in the back.
Interesting. There's still an auto guy back there. So was that big white limo parked out?
Yep.
Oh, I hated that thing.
Yes.
That looked so bad for my company.
Yep. They just treat it, and then there's a bunch of riffraff that comes around there. Yep. Mike in the bathrooms. There was somebody had gotten in there, and we had to call the police on him 2 or 3 times into the bathroom, and they just destroyed it. How do you even do that? I'm talking like shit on the walls, finger painting.
Mike told me about it.
Yeah, it was bad. And he was so mad about that. We had to make sure everything was locked. Somebody broke in and stole all of our stuff.
You know what? It's highly industrial. I don't know why anybody would be going
Where
through
do they even come from?
Yeah, but what are they expecting to get out of that
I don't know. Now, we had stuff in our shop, but we, on purpose, if you knew, but you have to know what the parts were, right? If you knew what that turbo was, oh yeah, that's a $3,500 turbo sitting up, and we've got a shelf of them. But to the average person, you're not going to know what that is. And they cleaned us out one time, and that kind of ended the business.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yep. And then we had a little run-in with Larry in the midst of all that, and Larry came in and took the rest of it. Larry and I are not on good terms. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you have the proper insurance for it?
Yeah. We got made whole, and it was all okay. And then coincidentally, Trump had come in and put a bunch of tariffs on
imports,
which is weird because I supported it, but not for our particular business.
Sure.
And then kind of the combination of those 3 events, it was like, all right, we're gonna shift gears and do something else.
Really?
Yeah.
We haven't had a whole lot of problems with it. There was one day I drove into my shop, and I have my office admin is often there. She's there alone a lot of times, and I really didn't think anything of it. And I pulled into our parking lot, and some guy had the door to my shop opened up just as I pulled in. And that's really the only time we ever had a problem. But since then, I thought, yeah, you know what? I've got Janice sitting in there. I can't have guys coming in and out of here without that. so we lock all the doors.
Yep.
And the city doesn't like it. And I said, well, you got to get down here and police this a little bit better then, because I'm not going to leave her in there all by herself.
Sure.
So we locked the doors.
No, we had a firm rule. Like, there was always me or Rob was my partner's name. Like, we could be down there, but anybody else, you had to have pairs. And if we were meeting somebody down there for a car, we always brought multiple people. You just never knew what was going to come through. But
well, I'm glad to hear you say that. Because my daughter lives in Durango, and I dressed the place up a little bit, and she came up for Christmas, and we had a little party there at the shop, because it's all dressed up, and we were heading home. And I said, Brindley, let's go home. She goes, no, I'm just going to stay here. It was comfortable. And I thought, I don't know. But she and a few of others stayed there, which was nice to have others there. But yeah, now
I wouldn't. We did that. We had a couple of builds that we were doing down there.
Yeah.
And we spent the night there a handful of times.
Yeah.
And if you're there after about 1 o'clock,
really?
You'll see some stuff.
What is there for people to get?
I have no idea.
Equipment, I guess, but
I have no idea.
It's a highly industrial area.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going to do any panhandling.
No, there's nobody else there. Maybe that is the draw. Is there isn't anybody there, and let's call it ace and ace. The security on that building isn't. It's not the best.
No.
I think he finally put some cameras in.
The guy that had that spot before us had some cameras in. They're decoys now.
They were always decoys. The
is
night
that
we
right?
had that break-in,
Yeah.
they had just put them up, and we're like, what a blessing. They've got cameras up. We'll go get the footage of it. Yeah, there was no was no footage.
So the company that's right behind us called and said, hey, he called me, said we had somebody break in and steal about $1,000 worth of equipment. Do you mind if we look at your cameras? Sorry, man. They're decoys.
You can. Go at it.
Go look.
Yeah.
You can see them from your lot.
Yep.
Go take a look at them.
There's nothing there. Oh, that is so funny.
That is hilarious.
Small world.
Yeah.
Huh. That's incredible. Man, all right. Let's jump back a little bit here.
Sure.
So part of your business is you kind of have a different motto in the people that you hire and whatnot. And let me make sure I get this right. Transforming chaos to order. What does that mean?
That's interesting, and that has become our company motto. When I first started SOCOM, I was interviewed, and someone says, "What do you do?" It's right there on my jacket. I'm a restoration company, right? What are you supposed to say? And I said, "Well, we're a transformation company." And he says, "You're a transformation company? What do you mean?" Yeah, we transform chaos to order. So, imagine, if you will, a family of 3 or 4, well, in Utah, 7, 8, and you've got children that are getting ready for school. You got dad getting ready for work. You got mom trying to navigate everything, and then all of a sudden someone comes running up from the basement and says, "Hey, there's water. There's water in the basement." And it could be broken pipe. It could be sewer backup, and that throws the entire family into chaos. Throws school schedules off. It throws work schedules off. Nobody knows what to do. So what they do is they call up their insurance agent, and then they send us out there, and we transform that chaos back into order.
Well, that seems like the public. What about internal?
I know what you're getting at. SOCOM has come along when I needed something. I was contracting myself out to a friend of mine who's a New York best time seller, and I was coaching on other entrepreneurs. When I closed my appraisal office, he reached out to me and says, "Hey, I know what are you doing right now?" I said, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I haven't created that yet. And he says, "Well, you know my content. I'd like you to come and coach some of my clients until you figure this out." So I thought, all right, I'll go give that a go. And I was working for him for about 4 years. And, I hit this point where I didn't see my income increasing, and I did all right. I was comfortable. But I couldn't book any more clients or anything like that. They fed them to me.
Yeah.
It was really cushioned. And I was feeling too comfortable, if you will. I can't explain it. I was feeling too comfortable. So I started thinking, all right, I need something new. I need to mix it up.
Yeah.
And that's been, I don't like this about me, but that's been my pattern. When I get comfortable, I think, I don't like this. So I destroy everything and then recreate it. I've done that a few times. So I was in that mode, and I was listening to my nephew, who's an expert in this field, talking to a younger brother, and he mentioned, he had a very successful company out in the Vernal area. He said, I'd really love to get something started out here. There's big money out here. And believe me, there is.
Yeah.
There's good money out here. So I let them finish their conversation. When they were finished, I approached my nephew and I said, hey, I'm your guy. As I listened to him, I know construction. It's intuitive. To some people, it's intuitive. To me, it's intuitive.
Yeah.
And so I said, I'm your guy. That sounds like something I can do, and I want to do it. And so it took a couple months to get everything organized, and we got started. And this my friend's company. I was pretty a big deal.
Yeah.
So they had to replace me. So I gave him. I walked in to my friend. I says, "Hey, look, I got to stir things up here. I'm going to move on, and I'm giving you 2 weeks to get somebody in here." And the CEO of the company approached me and he said, "Look, we're not going to find somebody in 2 weeks. We're not going to find somebody in a month. You've got a big position here, and we need to make sure we've got the right guy. So go ahead and do your thing, but are you okay if we continue to book you appointments while you're building your business?" And I thought, you know what, that might make a nice little transition.
Sure.
And so, quite literally, I'd be out on a project, and my phone would pop up and say, "You got a meeting in 15 minutes." So I'd go out to the truck, I'd take a meeting, about an hour, and then I'd be out there swinging hammers again. It was just me. I was the marketing guy. I was the finance guy. I was the reconstruction guy. I was the mitigation guy. It was really, really hard work.
Yeah.
It was really hard work. And that went on for maybe 4 months. And I got so busy, I called over to my friend and said, "Look, I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry." And so I cut the cord, done. And it's just blossomed ever since.
Huh. So for you, finding the hill to charge, that is kind of your calling. That's what motivates you and gets you up in the morning.
My mantra.
Your mantra.
Make shit happen, get shit done.
Ooh.
I
like that.
It's
okay.
that simple.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, how does that bleed over to the people that you hire?
Okay, so we come back to that. So SOCOM came along when I needed something. My first employee, this was around the COVID time, and he was an entrepreneur of some sorts. He's a little unorganized, but COVID shut him down, and he was living in his car. He was living with friends. He was living with girlfriends. And I met a fellow. He's now my roofer, Rocktop Construction. And I was mentioning to him, I need some help. And he said, "Well, my nephew's laying down on my couch in my basement right now. Why don't you call him?" And I thought, well, you know what? Yeah, have him give me a call. And I called him one morning, and this was interesting. I was not going to hire this guy. I wasn't going to hire him. So I call over to my friend, and I was discussing this project that I had for him as a roof project, and he says, "Hey, do you want to talk to my nephew?"
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, sure, put him on." And I hear him going, "Hey, Lance, wake up."
Oh no! At 2:00 in the afternoon.
Right. Yeah. I'm thinking, oh boy, yeah. How am I going to get out of this? This is a close friend of mine, right?
Yeah.
His nephew. So I'm thinking, gosh, you know what? How am I going to get out of this? And he says, "Here, take the phone. Someone wants to talk to you." And this sleepy voice comes on. He says, "Yeah, this is Lance." And I I'm asking him questions, right? And I could hear his uncle whispering, say this.
Oh, no.
Answer it this way. Say this. And I'm going, oh my gosh, no, this isn't going to work out.
Yeah.
Right? And so I agreed to meet this guy. So we had an interview, and I people that talk too much, try to sell too much, turn me off.
Sure.
Because I'm the type of guy, I won't say, I will do this, I will do that, I will do this. You watch me, I'll get this, I'll make this goal. That's not me.
Sure.
I'm the guy that says, you watch, just watch. I'm not going to say a thing. And that's just my MO. It doesn't mean that the guy that talks too much is not going to perform. But after this interview, I thought, oh boy, no, I can't bring this on, right? This kid was a mess. And that afternoon, I got a call to go take care of a flood up close to Foothill Boulevard, and it was a stackable washing machine.
Ooh.
And for one guy to pull that thing off, I'm thinking, I need some help.
Yeah.
I was desperate. So I pick up my phone. Hey, Lance, do you remember? Oh, yeah, I remember you. You know what? You want an opportunity to get your feet wet, literally, and come see what this looks like for you. And I jumped right on it. He came up, and I'd never seen anybody work so hard in my life. I mean, it was the first time I'd seen one guy in the two different places at the same time. He was just everywhere, and I thought, yeah, he's just trying to impress me.
Yeah.
Right? So I thought, okay, meet me at my house tomorrow. We'll get you lined out for tomorrow. And the same thing. I mean, the guy would just go. And he knew what he was doing. And so I, month after month after month, and he kept telling me, yeah, I've got this friend that wants me to help him start this carpet cleaning business. Yeah, we've been working on it for a long time, but it wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
And he just, he grew on me. The guy worked his ass off. And the first job that needed some drywall repair, I think I'm pretty good. I do drywall pretty good. And so I said, Lance, take care of this patch right here. I've got to run to this other property. I'll come back and then we'll wrap up. So I come back and it looked like shit. And I said, hey, we got an opportunity for some training here. And he goes, I know how to do drywall. And I will, this doesn't look very good. Here at SOCOM, you've got my permission to give me your best. I don't want to be good. Everybody else is good. We're the best. So show me your best. And then I went to another project and I came back, and I mean, it was pristine. You couldn't see, he had it so smoothed out and then painted. You couldn't, typically you can see just a little bit of,
You know what you're looking for.
color. Yeah. I mean, it was perfect.
Huh.
It was perfect. And from that point, I gave him more and gave him more and gave him more. Now he's my reconstruction manager. And he came to me one day and he says, you know what? I was down and out. I don't have a lot of salient feature, skills that I can put out there. I know how to do drywall. I know how to do this stuff, it's no big deal. Like I said earlier, things come intuitive to some people.
Yeah.
But no one had given him the opportunity to show it. And I gave him more and more, and the guy just stepped into it. And I watched this kid transform into this incredibly powerful guy that he trains people, he goes out to projects. I don't have to go to a project. I can say,
There you go.
there you go.
Huh.
He knows exactly what to do, in what order, and he just gets it done.
So what did you learn from that? What was your takeaway from that?
I learned don't, you've heard it for years and years, don't judge people by their cover.
Yeah.
This is a slight guy. You look at him, you wouldn't think anything of it. But the guy has, for the longest time, he was the SOCOM Restoration mascot. He goes into people's homes, and they love him. He's extremely polite. He gives them a really, really good customer experience. And out of everybody in the company, he's the one that gets the most reviews.
Really?
Yeah, you would never know it.
Huh.
You could talk to him and you'd walk away and you'd think, I wonder if that guy's the owner of SOCOM Restoration.
That's really interesting because there's different positions, right? And there's different hats for a reason. And sometimes the visionary or the leader, they're not the executor. And it works the same in reverse. By the same token, for him to dream up, how do I use these skills to better myself or to start a business, that may not be his language. He may not know how to do that. But you giving him the opportunity and saying, okay, here's the direction, now let your skills shine. And he just takes it and runs.
He just took it and ran.
You gave him the hill. Here's the hill. Good luck.
We have a culture. And for the longest time it was my culture. What motivates me. And one of those things is that I'm always pushing to become better. And the quote that I use, it's mine. Perfection's impossible, but the pursuit is not. Oh. We can try to be perfect. We'll never be perfect, but we can at least try. And that's one of the things that I try to instill in my employees. And they live up to it. We are transforming chaos to order. And what I'm seeing with this culture is these guys come in, some of them are broken down, some of them, my project manager right now came to me, I won't go into it, but he was broken down.
Yeah.
He put his heart into it. I explained to him, this is our culture. There's 4 bullet points. Our objective is to transform chaos to order. And the guy has just taken it and run. And now he's the project manager. We're transforming. I'm seeing this transformation of guys into men. And you give them a responsibility. And if they're in the right stage of their life, they're going to run with it.
Responsibility. Yeah. I agree with that entirely. It's very interesting. You kind of gave me some goosebumps there. I was just having a conversation the other day. My personal motto, I hold myself to a bar of perfection. Now, here's the caveat, okay? I'm never going to get it, all right? But the trick to it, I'm always striving for it, but you have to be okay with yourself, and you have to forget the mistake as fast as you can. Forget it, get on to the next one. It's a constant striving for perfection. But you're not going to get it. Get over the hump as fast as you can, but keep going for it.
Yeah.
Keep going for it.
The pursuit's not impossible.
No. That's really powerful stuff. I like that.
Oh,
I like that a lot.
Thanks.
Interesting.
Perfection's impossible. The pursuit is not.
That is powerful.
I'm sure there's been other people who have said it in so many words. I know I'm not the originator. But that is one of the standards in our culture that we follow.
So when you get these guys and you introduce that for the first time, what's their kind of reaction?
These are guys. Guys need a challenge. A real guy needs a challenge. And if you push them, if you give them the challenge, they'll rise to it. Every trip of the train. I shouldn't say that. There's been plenty of guys that have come and they leave. That's because they don't fit the culture.
Sure.
They'll find the door. I've only had to let 2 people out.
Really?
I've only had to fire 2 people.
I think that's fascinating. I think in society right now, men especially, I really make a point. I don't talk about women. We're very different and I think that's a beautiful thing. It takes both of us.
We gotta have it.
We have to have it. And
I wouldn't be a man without a woman.
Correct. I wouldn't. Well, my instincts and whatnot to protect and provide and all that stuff. Without the woman, what am I doing? We'd be all in mud huts, and slinging mud at each other all day.
Exactly.
So that makes perfect sense. And I think to your point, giving these guys something that I bet they're proud of their work when they're done. And they come to you and say, hey, boss, look at this drywall right here.
Yeah.
And now they're proud and they feel accomplished for the day. And that's how you fix a lot of problems with guys.
That's how you fix a lot of problems with guys. Recognition. You know what? You could. This is the thing that I see is you can build the most beautiful building on the planet, but if there wasn't anybody else on the planet, what is that building worth? But you build a beautiful building and you see other people going, wow, that's really cool.
There's the pride.
That feels good.
Yeah.
That feels good. The pat on the back. And so it feels good to me. I know it does. And so when I reach out to one of my guys and pat them on the back, I know it feels good to them, and they want more. These guys, they're men. These are men, and they act like men, and they treat everybody else the way men should be treating other people.
That's incredible.
Yeah, our cultures, I'm very proud of them.
Huh.
Very proud of our men.
That's really interesting. I've got kind of a live action experiment going on right now. I'm coaching baseball over at Highland, and the same principles of what you're talking about. Okay, they had a coach last year. He got fired. The new coach called me to come over. I wasn't looking for it, and he called me to say, "Come on over and come do your thing." And he kind of just opened it up and said, "There's my problems. Go see what you can do about it." Okay, and what I have found, but we all know this stuff. I don't focus on the negative. If you just focus on the negative, here's what everybody wants, especially these young boys. In my mind, they're like feral young children, right? This is like, they're teenagers. They're all their emotions. Everything is as raw as it gets. Yes, 100%. But if you focus on the negative, they're going to perpetuate the negative, and they're going to seek it because ultimately everybody wants that recognition. The mark of a good leader, and what I hear you saying, is that you are giving the recognition to the parts that matter. And you give the recognition to them, and then they want to keep getting that, and you build a habit that way.
You know what? That's a big thing. And I'm not one that likes the limelight. I don't like a lot of attention. So when people say, "Look what you've done," I'm always saying, Look what this team is. It's the team that has done it. You know, we've got an office administrator, not naming names, but she worked for an insurance company, which is perfect because that's who we serve.
Yeah.
She worked for that insurance company for 15 years. She started at $15 an hour, and when I found her, guess what her pay rate was?
$15 an hour?
Bingo.
Oh no.
What kind of appreciation does that show that employee?
None. Zero.
She came to me broken down. She says, she was really, really scared. This is a lady that's probably 2 years my senior. She's pushing probably 60 years old. And she came to me and she said, I don't think I could learn anything. Oh, we've got confidence in you. And I'll tell you, for the longest time, she tested me. And there were times where I thought, oh my gosh, what have I done? But we just gave her the space. And now she commands that office like she's been there her entire life.
Really?
Yeah, she's incredible. We couldn't do it without her.
Huh.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. It's a fun work environment. We all laugh. We all make fun of each other. We all cry together. Here's something that's interesting, and I take pride in this.
Okay.
So I was talking to a lot of entrepreneurs at this event that I was at Florida, right? And we were talking about employees, and there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are saying, "Oh my gosh, my employees are the biggest pain in the ass." Really? Are you kidding me? I love my employees. I love them. And this other lady that's an entrepreneur, she says, "I love my employees too. I just wish I could tell them. I feel like I'm going to get in trouble if I say anything." I'm like, "Really? Are you kidding me? I tell my employees I love them all the time, and I do." Lance, I love you, buddy. And he's
Really?
like, "Oh, yeah, I love you too. I love you too." And I do. I love them. I sincerely love these guys.
It's really interesting. So at the law firm, we employ legal secretaries. And one of the things that I've done is kind of revolutionize how the business is done. And we used to have 4 legal assistants that all had 12 plus years of experience. And the old guard, the owners, thought that was what was needed to run this law firm. Well, you mix in some technology and you do this stuff. And I've whittled it down to 2 20-year-olds that had less than 6 months combined of experience. And they're running circles around the 4 that used to be there. And it's kind of incredible to see it. But what's very interesting to me is there also seems to be a new jump maybe, I don't know if this is generational, but it plays right into what you're talking about. We can give them a raise. That's great, okay? When I tell them, hey, good job, I'm really proud of you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
They light up like a Christmas tree, and that's what actually motivates them.
That's what motivates them. It's that simple.
It is that simple.
Appreciation.
Yeah. And trying to convince the old guard who thought, well, if I just pay you more, we can do and say whatever we want. And it's like, no, that's not how people want to operate. It's just not.
They want the recognition.
They want the recognition.
Yeah.
And I've found, now to just back to the baseball team, the old way of yelling at the play, it never worked back then. I think kids were just tougher because I think their dads yelled at them more, honestly. And now, you want to shut them down? Yell at them.
Yeah.
You got to be more Tony Robbins. You've got to motivate them, and they want the appreciation. They want to be told good job. And they'll run through brick walls for you if you do.
It's true.
And the employees, and it really is not a generational thing. It's just that
It's a human thing.
It's a human thing. And the old guard was just kind of used to it. But give one of that old guard a compliment. Tell him I'm proud of you. Tell him I appreciate you. I love you, man.
Yeah.
And watch him. That I love you, man, especially to guys, it like confuses their brain for a minute.
It does. It stumps them up. But the thing is the L word is thrown around my office all the time.
That's amazing.
And I can say, hey, Ken, I love you. And he'll say, I love you too, bud.
And then you get more performance out of them.
Yep.
It's amazing how that works.
Yep. And you say, I appreciate the hell out of you, man. Thank you. They're like, I actually have an employee that says, I appreciate you too. And he'll say, thank you. Appreciate what you did today. And I'm thinking, now wait a minute. What?
That's not how this works. Hold on.
Yeah. He's constantly saying, I appreciate you. Okay.
But is that because of the culture that you started?
It could very well be. But you know what? I would charge hell with a cup of water for these guys. And I think they appreciate that. They know I've got their back.
And they inherently, everybody knows when it's real.
Yeah.
And it matters.
Yeah.
You're not just saying it just to.
And that's how your players respond.
Right.
A little bit of appreciation.
And it goes so far. And all they really want is to be told good job.
Yeah.
That's it.
They'll rise to the occasion.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool. It's powerful, powerful stuff. I've also got just to kind of, because I'm in that mode a little bit, I also, before I talk to them, I make them tell me what they're grateful for. They don't even know that.
That's huge.
Oh, man. You want to see a kid that just, they had a fight with their girlfriend or whatever it is. And again, the feralness of the young high school kids, you can see it switch their brain just instantly. Hey, whoa. Hold on. You're upset about something. I can see it because it's all over your face. What are you grateful for? All right, now let's go and talk about hitting. Their whole mind just shifts immediately. Like there's so much power to these principles.
There's a lot of psychology behind that.
Oh, yeah.
The brain can only think of one thing at a time. And if you've got somebody focusing on what they're grateful for, that's like this, mini meditation. Because you've taken their brain off fight or flight, and you've asked them to focus on something that they're grateful for. They can't think of the fight or flight. That's the first thing you do when somebody's in your face and they're angry at you. Ask them a question. They start thinking about the answer, and their brain can't think of that anymore. They have to think about the answer.
Yeah.
And you've shifted that energy that flows through the whole body, starts right there, shifts through the whole body, and it's a completely different performer now.
It's wild how fast it happens too. Because you're 100% right. Every time I ask it, there's this little pause of like, wait, what am I great? I've got my family. We get to play baseball today.
What a genius thing to do.
It's so
for your
powerful.
players.
Yeah. It is so powerful. Or the bottom of the seventh inning, right? You're on deck waiting, and you can see that kid. He's nervous, and here we are. Hey, what are you grateful for?
Yeah.
It changes their whole mind.
And though you see it in the body.
In real time. And
You're
then
a
they go up
genius.
there with the confidence.
Who thinks of that?
I've been studying this.
I'm impressed. You've been studying it. Tell me what you've been studying.
Well, the baseball journey, what I've learned, hindsight being 2020, okay, it had nothing to do with baseball. For me, and that journey that I was telling you about and going through and selling myself and everything,
Great journey.
It was a spiritual journey, and it taught me how to navigate through problems. It taught me what was important. It taught me how to process information. It taught me how to get from problem to problem and get on to the next one, get on to the next one. You're going to fail. Get back up and go again. And I'm trying to instill this to them, and I'm trying to figure out ways of doing it in 3 words or less. Because if it's any longer than that, these high school kids aren't going to remember it. If I give them
What are you grateful for?
What are you grateful for? I could give them the whole psychology of what that does and how it shifts your. They don't care about that. It's the subconscious. I'm right there.
Right now they don't.
No, they will.
They will. At some point, they're going to be you coaching somebody else.
I think that is on a long enough time scale, that is going to be the ultimate reward for this, is if in 10 years I get a call back from some of these guys and they go, hey, coach, at bat to at bat, take a deep breath, reset, go up there and do it again. Yep, there you go.
That's awesome.
It's kind of cool, and you can see it in real time.
You know what you were saying brought me to this pre-game or maybe a preseason pep talk from a basketball coach. Have you seen that lady from Duke University? She's the coach. Handle hard better. She's talking about to these freshmen that are coming in, and these are kids on her basketball team, right?
Okay.
And she's saying, we think that it's hard. Everything is hard. And she says it is hard, but in your mind you're thinking, if I can get through this first few weeks, then it's going to be easier. If I can get through this first quarter, then it's going to be easy. If I can get through this, it's going to be easier. She says it's not going to be. It's going to be harder. In fact, we're going to make it harder. And because what you want to do is you want to handle hard better. It's not going to get easier. You're just going to handle hard better. You got to check it out. It's an incredible speech. It went viral.
Oh man, I will check that out.
Duke University, and if you go to YouTube and type in there handle hard better, it'll come up.
It's kind of amazing. We've done, this is our 35th episode, okay? And if I'm wrong on that, we've got a backlog of a couple. But there's some themes that are going around that we bring in these people that have high mindsets, that they're players in the community. You know what I'm saying? Like yourself. And that one of the themes is choose your hard. Rob has a great saying, like, it's hard to wake up and go to the gym. It's also hard to be 350 pounds and out of shape.
I'm going to tell you, I haven't seen Rob at the gym for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got to talk to him about that.
Yeah.
That's where this happened, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he came to a networking meeting, and I was impressed with the guy. He's an incredible orator.
Yes.
And he was pushing Heroes for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving Heroes. That's our charity.
Yeah. So we made a couple donations from that.
Yeah.
And then I see him at the gym, and he's my kind of guy.
Yeah.
We hit it off.
Oh, of course.
But I haven't seen him at the gym for a while, so you need to ask him about that. And of course, he's out of town right now.
He's out of town right now, but I think he thinks that the cold plunges and saunas are taking the place in the morning.
Have you done a cold plunge?
You know what's funny about that? I get so weirded out by that. Everybody, they do it. Oh, it's hard. It's hard. I was a professional athlete. That's just what we did Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Like it wasn't a big, and we did it for 20 minutes and the entire team did it. So to me, it's not, we did a retreat with Rob and it was like, what are you guys talking about? This is hard.
Dude, you couldn't get me to do that at gunpoint. There's no way I'm jumping in one of those things. Not happening.
Oh, you get in, and the trick is you have to get through the first minute. Once you're through the first minute, it really, and then once you go numb, it doesn't matter.
Jeez. You know what? Just the thought of it, I want fetal position.
I agree. If you give me a choice.
Thumb in mouth. Not doing it.
I hate the cold anyway. All my motorcycles,
he does
baseball.
It every morning.
He does it every morning. And he does it in cycles. Yeah. No, I'm with you. It was a thing we had to do.
For you. Yeah. You know what? Not doing it.
But yeah. I don't know.
We divert.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm with you. Anyway, hey, Matthew, this has been absolutely incredible. I want to do, we have a thing that we're going to do round twos, and we're trying to kind of build a roster, okay? I would like to invite you back.
Oh, I'd love to come back. I've had a great time.
That's fantastic to hear. We're going to set up some different topics, and we're going to get different people on and do more roundtable masterminds type things. And I would really appreciate it if you came back on. So that would be great. But
Yeah.
As we kind of wind this down, one of the questions that we really like to end with is if you were to go back to your younger self, or maybe the person that's getting ready to go into the restoration business, and you could give advice to a young entrepreneur, what would that advice be?
That is a good question. That's a very good question. Routine.
Mm-hmm.
Build yourself a very healthy morning and evening routine.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you go into that a little bit? What's your routine?
You know, so I've always had this routine. I get up between 3:30 and 4 o'clock in the morning because that's my time. And when my kids were little, you know, I'd be sitting in my office, and one of them would walk up, and I had a thumb sucker, and he had his little blanket. He'd be dragging on his thumb, and he'd be standing at my door, and I'd be, this is Dad's time. And I had to about face him and go put him in bed. But this morning routine has pulled me out of so many ruts. You know, when I first started SOCOM Restoration, I walked away from my friend's cushioned position that I had for 4 years, and then all of a sudden I found myself waking up, and I'd be sitting on the side of my bed with my hands buried in my face buried in my hands. Got that backwards.
There you go.
And I think to myself, what in the hell have I done? Because it was comfy.
Yeah.
It was easy. I made it hard for myself. And by the end of my morning routine, I was ready to go. So here's how it goes. And it modifies. I'll tell you my routine back at that time.
Okay.
So I would get up, and the first thing I did, you know, I have supplements I take, sure. I would sit down to my desk. We were talking about, what are you grateful for?
Yeah.
Every morning, I would write 3 things that I am grateful for. And then I would look at my goals, and at the bottom of the page, I'd be writing things that I was going to do that day in narrative form. I am Matthew Caldwell. I am going to do this. I am going to do this. It's going to push me closer to my goal. I am going to do this. It'd take up a whole page and a half.
Mm-hmm.
After that, 30 minutes of reading. After that, to the gym. After that, breakfast. After that, Matthew is ready for the world. You can have me. Before I'd walk out the door, I'd look in the mirror, and I'd have some of my goals, things that I wanted. I'd write, I want floods. It'd be right there on my mirror with dry erase. And then I would pound my chest. I am Matthew Caldwell. I get floods. I am Matthew Caldwell. I hit goals. I am Matthew Caldwell. I bring in business. I am Matthew Caldwell. By the end of the thing, I'm pounding and I'm ready to go. And I'm out the door.
Oh, man.
That was my morning routine then. It's modified since then.
That's powerful. You know what's crazy about that? High-level individuals, there's carryover to this. You just outlined, minus this part, you just outlined our golden nuggets of how to start the day.
Is that right?
That almost verbatim. Almost verbatim. And
Great minds think alike.
That's how I find truth. When it's a carryover and it happens of successful individuals, and what are they doing? Morning routine. My thing, I like waking up at 4:30, okay? Because nobody else does. And to me, that just that little nugget right there, that I know nobody else is awake, that I'm an advantage. I'm doing something that nobody else is willing to do. And I find solace in that.
You know, that's where success lies. You're willing to do what everybody else is not willing to do. That's the difference between success and mediocrity. Mm-hmm. You are willing to do what nobody else is willing to do.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff. Matthew, I can't thank you enough for coming on. This show's been great.
What? I've had a great time.
That's awesome. We're definitely going to do it again.
Thanks.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We're bringing you high-level individuals. Please pay attention. The carryovers where the answers are. We love you. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Thank you.